May 14th, 1643. The death of King Louis XIII of France engenders the crowning of the Dauphin, his eldest son, who now becomes King Louis XIV, King of France. At the tender age of 4, King Louis XIV joins the line of royal progeny who have taken the throne in their nascent stages of life. On May 14th, in 1912, the RMS Titanic hit an iceberg. Only 4 days into her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City, she was the largest ocean liner in service at that time. The Titanic had an estimated 2,224 people on board when she struck the iceberg. The sinking of the Titanic resulted in the death of more than 1,500 people, making it one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. On May 14th in 1948, David Ben-Gurion and the Jewish People's Council proclaimed the establishment of the State of Israel. The Israeli Declaration of Independence, formerly the Declaration of the Establishment of the State of Israel, was proclaimed on this day. The gathering took place at the Tel Aviv Museum. The declaration recounts the Jewish connection to the land of Israel, the birth of Zionism, and a recognition by the UN of a Jewish state's legitimacy. In 1955, on May 14th, representatives from 8 communist bloc countries, including the Soviet Union, signed the Warsaw Pact in Poland. The Warsaw Pact was created in reaction to the integration of West Germany into NATO in 1955 per the London Conferences of 1954. This pact was established as a balance of power or counterweight to NATO. This pact supplemented all existing agreements. In 1990, East Germany left the pact and reunited with West Germany. The reunified Germany then became a member of NATO. The rise of non-communist governments in other Eastern Bloc nations, such as Poland, Czechoslovakia, throughout 1990 and 91, marked an effective end of power of the Warsaw Pact. In 1961, on May 14th, a group of civil rights activists known as the Freedom Riders began a desegregation campaign. The interracial group rode together on interstate buses headed south from Washington, D.C., and patronized the bus stations along the way to test the enforcement of Supreme Court decisions that prohibited discrimination in interstate passenger travel. Their efforts were unpopular with white Southerners who supported segregation. The group encountered early violence in South Carolina, but continued their trip toward the planned destination of New Orleans. On Mother's Day, May 14, 1961, a Greyhound bus carrying Freedom Riders arrived at the Anniston, Alabama bus station shortly after 1 p.m. to find the building locked shut. Led by Ku Klux Klan leader William Chappell, a mob of 50 men armed with pipes, chains, and bats smashed windows, slashed tires, and into the sides of the riders' bus. Though warned hours earlier that a mob had gathered at the station, local police did not arrive until after the assault had begun. Once the attack subsided, police pretended to escort the crippled bus to safety, but instead abandoned it at the Anniston city limits. Soon after the police departed, another armed white mob surrounded the bus and began breaking windows. The Freedom Riders refused to exit the vehicle, but received no aid from two watching highway patrolmen. When a member of the mob tossed a firebomb through a broken bus window, others in the mob attempted to trap the passengers inside the burning vehicle by barricading the door. They fled when the fuel tank began to explode. The riders were able to escape the ensuing flames and smoke through the bus windows and main door, only to be attacked and beaten by the mob outside. After police finally dispersed their attackers, the Freedom Riders received limited medical care. They were soon evacuated from Anniston in a convoy organized by Birmingham civil rights leader Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. Empathy the powerful and love the almighty is why I love my country. My country is proof that error is self-destroying and righteousness shall always overcome. I give a special posthumous thanks to the men and women of various skin tones who carried out a strong fight to ensure our country is the beauty that it is today. I also thank all my earthbound humans who keep righteousness at the forefront. God bless America.